Crow has come to America. If we still had water fountains, the unvaccinated would have separate ones.
Yes, that is resident Fox News white nationalist Tucker Carlson inventing a new right-wing phrase, medical Jim Crow. And of course, he's latching on to this culture war narrative in regard to the coronavirus vaccine, because what else is he gonna talk about? It's not like they have solutions or anything good to offer their viewers. So let's just fearmonger about, honestly, one of the best things that has happened in this country in a long time, a vaccine that gives you freedom.
And that is free.
And safety, and is free, exactly. Like, I got my vaccine, I'm almost fully vaccinated, right? On Friday, I'll be fully vaccinated. And I feel so relieved. And guess what? It's very likely that Tucker Carlson himself has gotten the coronavirus vaccine. But
he's probably gotten several of them.
I would not be surprised if he were like one of the first people to get the coronavirus vaccine. With all of that said though, he wants to make you question whether or not the vaccine is worth getting, and he wants to fearmonger about those who don't end up getting it and how they might be treated as a result. Take a look.
If you're a middle-aged American, some of us are, you can probably still dimly remember back to what things used to be like in this country, say 13 or 14 months ago. Way back then, before the revolution, pretty much everybody agreed that segregation was the worst thing this country ever did.
I had to pause it there because the Freudian slip that was about to slip was just so on point for Tucker Carlson, right?
It is, and you're right to note it, but the dude is on video calling Iraqis semi-literate primitive monkeys. We don't need to do freeze frames to decide if he's racist or not.
No, we know. It's just amazing that he can barely contain himself when he's doing these segments. But let's get to the next clip, because that's where he talks about how this is the new medical Jim Crow.
The very same people, literally the very same, who just the other day told us that segregation was immoral, are now enforcing segregation. Should we be surprised? Probably not, but we still are. Just this morning, the New York Times informed us that unless you can prove you have taken the injection that the Democratic Party demands you take, you are no longer permitted in bars, comedy clubs, even some dance competitions in the state of New York. You're too dirty to appear in public.
Not the dance competitions.
Now, Tucker Carlson loves to do classic projection. In fact, the word dirty has come up quite a bit with Tucker Carlson in his programming, especially when he talks about immigrants and how he feels about them. This is a clip from just a few years ago.
People debate all the time about mass immigration. What you never hear anybody do is make the economic case for mass immigration. But as an economic matter, this is insane. It's indefensible, so nobody even tries to defend it. Instead, our leaders demand that you shut up and accept this. We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided.
I feel like Tucker Carlson, someone who likely got the coronavirus vaccine himself, likely thinks that others who didn't are dirty and dangerous. And he won't say that because he needs a culture war narrative to focus his programming on, which is why he's doing this. But
how fast does one of his servants get fired if they do a number 2 in his bathroom?
Oh my God.
And he's talking about people being, I'm so sick of him, I'm so sick. How can you, like if you're a conservative and like you're hate watching us or whatever so that we'll melt down or something, how can you watch him for 5 minutes without feeling so supremely condescended to? That guy does not have any respect for his audience. And watching a minute of his show is proof that there's no easier job than being a conservative pundit. It's like, oh, was segregation bad? Well, what if it was us that was being segregated against? They'll love that, and they do. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. They love it. It's just such pathetic, it's not logic, it's not thought, it's not an argument. The only part of his brain that isn't perfectly smooth are the cavities where the worms are wriggling through his lobes. He said, it's medical Jim Crow. If there were separate water fountains, the unvaccinated would have to use it. Oh, so if there was segregation, there'd be segregation? Fascinating argument there, Tucker Carlson. You've earned the $20 million you get every year. And we thought segregation was bad. You're right. The point that we were making was not about the horrific legacy of racial segregation by businesses, society at large, religions, the government. It was that any separation of any kind is bad, which he doesn't approve of. He thinks everyone should be able to go wherever they want, which is why he's never fear-mongered about transgender individuals using the bathroom that they want to use. No, obviously, some things have to be separated. Some things.
Yeah.
Most elementary schools filled with kids, not the elderly. Is that segregation? No, you moron. That's not, requiring people to get a vaccine before some business is obligated to serve them is not racial segregation. And he doesn't think that, his writers don't think that, his audience doesn't think that. They just really, really, really like being victims, and this is the ultimate form of victimhood. They're now as prejudiced against as anyone ever was under Jim Crow.
You know, it's this obvious unwillingness to point out that racial segregation has to do with punishing a group of people based on an unchangeable part of their identity, something that they have no control over, something that makes them no different from anyone else, really, inherently different, right? But it was a way of treating black people as second-class citizens in the United States over unchangeable characteristics and identity. That's what it was about. And continuing to persecute them even today as the official Jim Crow policies no longer exist. It's now being done systemically through a two-tier justice system, through obvious class differences between blacks and whites in this country, even as white people experience the downfall of the American empire and capitalism. You look at the black community and obviously they're hurt or harmed even further as a result of that. So there's that argument, right? That's like a very serious part of the argument that's worth noting. But when it comes to segregation overall, on a number of different factors, whether you're vaccinated or not, or I don't know, wealth, like there's segregation all over the place based on wealth, right? And so if I walk into an American Airlines flight and they tell me I need to go to my economy class seat because I didn't pay for a first class seat, I will now throw a temper tantrum because I am being segregated as a working American. I am being taken out of the first class section. I also would enjoy a warm cookie upon getting on the plane. I would also like a glass of champagne and mixed nuts. And this segregation is unacceptable. It is wrong. I want to live in Tucker Carlson's community. Why am I not allowed to just live in a beautiful mansion in the neighborhood that Tucker Carlson lives in?
No, not his neighborhood, his house.
His house.
And if he bars you, segregation, which he's against,
everybody.
He's in favor of open borders because he doesn't favor segregation. He's fine with conservatives being required to do whatever baked good related stuff having to do with same-sex marriage because this is also stupid. This is also nonsensical. All the right wing is pretending to have standards that they don't even hold. That you don't have to, deep dives are not required to see through how shallow their supposed values and supposed standards actually are.
It's just that Tucker Carlson literally has nothing else to talk about. And it's not just about Tucker Carlson. I'm gonna keep hammering this point every time we talk about this type of story. The reason why they're intentionally spreading misinformation, the reason why they're intentionally fear-mongering about a vaccine that is free, that gives you freedom, that keeps you safe, is because what else are they going to talk about? What is their, honestly, groundbreaking commentary about what's happening in the world? What are their solutions for the economic anxieties that you are facing?
Which they say they're focused on.
They say they're focused on it, so they'll pay lip service.
Populism.
Right, exactly. They'll pay lip service to the very understandable and justified economic frustrations that Americans are facing. But what solutions have they provided? Zero, none, other than white nationalist nonsense about pushing immigrants out and creating like this ethno state that they're obsessed with. Other than that, there's nothing. It always goes back to the culture war. And so, listen, obviously, we might have solutions and ideas that differ significantly from what Republican voters might want. But it's worth having that debate and it's worth having that discussion. And for right-wing viewers of Fox News, understand that the garbage that you're consuming from the likes of Tucker Carlson prevent us from having that discussion about actual robust solutions to the very real problems that we're all seeing in this economy. Right? Tucker Carlson has benefited and exploited that system. He loves that system, which is why he's not providing solutions. But he will spread misinformation to discourage you from getting vaccinated, even as he himself has been able to build out his own little private studio so he can do his job.
Multiple studios and multiple mansions. He doesn't need solutions because there aren't any problems from his point of view.
Exactly, and that's it. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
The cookie you don't get.
The cookie you don't get, okay. All right, you know what, real quick before we go to break, since we asked you guys to weigh in on which Democratic senator is worse, Manchin or Sinema, several of you have written in and I do wanna read your responses to it. So, Ryan writes in and says, I live in Arizona and have to say, it would have to be Sinema. One of her aides called me last week asking to support a bill. I told her aide that Sinema must support the progressive pledge and she hung up the phone. Thank you for sharing that story. Ryan, we gotta fight. We gotta fight, Ryan. Rindale says that Manchin is actually the worst. He's bought and paid for, Sinema's just crazy. I think Sinema's bought and paid for too, right? Yeah. But Manchin has like literal, he's vested in businesses like the hotel industry, for instance.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And I always try to be cognizant of the fact that there is a lot of explicit but also latent misogyny. So it is possible that it gets easier to get worked up against a female politician. Some people make whole careers out of it. So I try not to. Manchin's really bad. And Manchin is actually, he hasn't supported some bills that Sinema has sponsored. She's more performatively awful, but I think he's still more substantively awful.
I can't get over the performative thumbs down.
That's real bad.
To a $15 an hour minimum wage.
I would have told that aide on the phone, you can't see, but I'm giving you a big old thumbs down right now.
That's true, that's true, so good. All right, and then this isn't really weighing into the debate about who's worse, but Schwa Enigma is really excited that you're on the show today. Yay, John, I missed TDR today, so I'm excited. Can we please get hashtag is Tucker Vax trending on Twitter? I will allow it. Go. In the meantime, though, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back with more stories, including an insane story involving a woman accidentally shooting her own 5-year-old son in Texas. Hey guys, welcome to our social break. Gotta show the Twitch community some love. So let's start with Elder Mind Pulse, who gifted 70 subs. Thank you. I have not got, dude, 70. You guys are amazing. I haven't been on Twitch in a while. I took a little bit of a social media detox over the long weekend, which I needed. But I gotta get back in there because I love the Twitch community.
It's fun.
Eddie O'Donnell, 8 months Prime with the comment, 8 months on Twitch. Where did the time go? I don't know, time is flying by. Faye Molly, 9 months tier 1 with the comment, 9 months on Twitch and 8 years with TYT, longer than my kids have been alive.
Damn.
Have you gotten to that phase in life yet where the friends who have decided to have children now have like proper teenage children?
Not like my close friends don't generally have kids, which probably says something about me and my close friends that none of us have created life. Anyway, I do have some friends that have kids that are a few years. No one's got like a 15-year-old or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I got some preteen situations going on. If it's,
oh geez,
it makes me
nothing that can ride a bike really.
No, my situation's different. It makes me kind of scared. Okay, Eddie O'Donnell, thank you for your comment. DJ 80, 10 months tier 1, still loving TYT 14 years later.
14.
Thank you. Wow, that's as long as I've been. Yeah, over 14 years. Whew. April of this year was my 14th anniversary.
Jeez.
Yeah. Holly Beer Dragon, 7 months tier 3. Yeah. And gave 5 gift subs. Cypher Shadow Dragon gifted a sub. Andy from Ohio, 8 months, tier 1. I can't believe it's already been 8 months, but I love and appreciate you all for keeping me informed on what's actually happening.
Oh, really fast.
Man, these comments are like really speaking to my soul right now. I needed it, I really did, so thank you.
No, thank you. But tell me what to put at a great comment, which was, Sinema's worse because Sinema ran as a progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manchin never pretended to be progressive.
And
he did pretend to be a Democrat.
She also pretended to want to fight for a $15 an hour minimum wage.
That's true. Tell me what to put with a good point.
Yep. And Tandy B, 7 months prime. I always miss Cenk when he's gone, but you two have the rants down today. Feisty John today, yeah. Anna not to be trifled with. I love that comment. Love all the TYT hosts and guests. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate your support. And Obi Mom Kenobi says, I didn't think I could love John more. I was wrong.
I don't even know what caused that. Now I want to do more of it, but I don't know how to.
You're just a kind guy, John.
I try to,
and you stay above the fray. I love that about you.
Thank you. Is Cenk out all week?
He's out all week, so I will be on the show on Friday. I know, lately I've been not doing the main show, but since he's out, I will be doing
the first hour?
No, second hour. I'll be leading it.
That would have been fun. Okay.
Yeah. So check us out on Friday, and check us out when we come back from the break in just a few minutes.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.